the weekly lives called Learning Connects, which this week are on a very special edition because today's conversation is done in partnership between UNIDO and the European Training Foundation, and we are going to talk about the importance of partnerships in skills development with a relevant angle, which is green innovation. I'd like to introduce with no hesitation the guests of today. Alexander Amiri from WorldSkills. Welcome, Alexander.
Hello, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. It's a great pleasure to take part in this initiative.
You said the keywords wherever you are in the world, because we invite everyone who's connected to let us know where they are following this conversation from. And welcome to Kristien van den Eynde from the European Training Foundation. Welcome, Kristien.
Hello, Daria. Hello, everybody. Happy to be here with you.
Thank you very much, Kristien. And of course, a warm welcome to our partners in this initiative. Mattias Larsen, Industry and Development Expert at UNIDO and Coordinator of the Learning and Knowledge Development, the LKDF. Welcome, Mattias.
Thank you very much. Good morning and greetings from Vienna.
Greetings to Vienna, also from Turin, and welcome to Riccardo Savigliano, Chief of Division of the Agro-Industries and Skills Development at UNIDO.
Hello,
welcome,
everyone. Hello, everyone.
Thank you, Riccardo. This morning we are facing a challenge together, which is not only discussing a topic which is relevant to all of us, but also overcoming some possible digital difficulties. So we invite all of you to be with us, send us your energy and also very good connectivity, because we'd like this conversation to reach every bit of the planet. And indeed, as Alexander flagged at the very beginning of this conversation, we'd like to invite all of you watching us live to let us know where you are from, because we really want to know the geography of this UNIDO ETF live session. And please take part in this conversation, because all your questions and doubts and curiosities and ideas will be shared with the guest speakers. But now let's go straight to the discussion, and I'd like to give the floor to Riccardo from UNIDO to present this extraordinary joint initiative. Riccardo, over to you. Let's hope that the connectivity will help us.
Thank you, Daria, for the kind introduction. I have to say, when you invited us and you invited me to speak, I was thinking that I would have been challenged by my passion, because when I get passionate about something, I talk and talk and talk. We have to stay in 1 hour. So I thought it was my biggest challenge within 1 hour and help keeping the timing. But that my connectivity might even more. So I apologize. Yes, if at a certain point I will have to jump out from the conversation, is not my fault. I'm sorry for that.
Don't worry, Riccardo. Keep on, and in case you get frozen, I'll step in.
Okay, thank you, Daria. Thank you so much. Yeah, we would like to thank ETF for having invited us. No, that we're having invited UNIDO to join this very interesting initiative and this Friday talks, because we would like to share.
I'll step in, Riccardo, here, because the scope of this conversation is precisely to share and discuss some of the achievements of the LKDF Hackathon, which is a virtual event, as many are the ones we're living and experiences in these years of pandemic, a virtual event that gather young people from all over the world to develop tangible solutions on how agribusiness can generate less waste, carbon emissions, and reduce energy consumption, because even when we are all hit by the pandemic, we should not be forgetting the planet. And the hackathon took place in September, correct, Riccardo? and was organized by UNIDO, the European Training Foundation, and WorldSkills. And today we will be discussing some of the lessons learned and the importance of partnerships in skills development. So I would like really to know more about what was discussed and what happened. So Kristien, my colleague from the European Training Foundation, I'd like to you to kindly tell us about the hackathon and why it was important for all organizations to take part in it. Kristien.
Thank you, Daria. So yeah, with ETF, we already had some experience with a live hackathon in the past. It was pre-COVID. It took place in Turin with 2 technical schools, and students had to actually build a wooden green little house. But this time in September, we were involved in an online hackathon. And this was also the first time for us to see how an online hackathon would work. And me personally, I was very curious to see if it was as exciting as in real life. And actually, it was. It was really amazing to see how these young people from all over the world easily connect and work together in small teams to find a green solution to a certain environmental problem. So each person has his own competences and his own skills. And really, it's amazing to see and to observe that all these talents actually came together also online and contributed then to an end result. So you asked also why it is important for ETF to participate. I would say, firstly, in ETF, we consider hackathons as an innovative way of teaching and learning, also within vocational education and training. It's all about peer learning, active learning, and really very importantly also that all these participants, they learn a whole range of other key competences that are nowadays more and more important, the so-called soft skills, such as teamwork, problem-solving skills, and also the etiquette, how to behave online. It's also very, very important nowadays. And of course, secondly, the EU Green Deal is at the heart of our agency. And so we, of course, fully support the development of green skills and green competences amongst young people, so that these young people can help us in finding innovative ways to combat climate change.
Absolutely, we need to find these innovative ways to spread them, to share them. And actually, one of the very interesting aspects, like you have just flagged, is that different institutions took part in the organization of this initiative. So I'd like now to give the floor to Alexander from WorldSkills, because we are very interested to know why has WorldSkills decided to join this hackathon and how youth played a key role in this event.
Yeah, thank you very much. And first of all, thank you very much for letting us join today and letting us join in the hackathon and also previous and hopefully many following events in teaming up together, join forces there and create great outcomes. When we received the invitation and we internally discussed the opportunity to join this innovative hackathon, it was kind of a no-brainer for us that we actually wanted to team up with you, with UNIDO and ETF, and be part of it. Since we strongly believe, we as the 3 organizations and many other NGOs, IGOs, industries and educational organizations, we have the same belief in the importance of green skills, the importance of green skills development for those young people that we're talking about, the young talent and their future. And it's not only crucial for the sustainability of our environment, of our earth, our planet, the economy, sustainable economies, but most importantly, we are talking about, and in this case, we have active engagement of this youth's future. So that is critical important for the youth and for us as an organization. Secondly, last year we ran a design thinking workshop together with UNIDO, where we were focusing on generating ideas all around green skills and greening skills development. And throughout this design thinking workshop, we were actually able to identify ways to promote green skills and training attached to that. So this hackathon on that specific topic was just the logical consequence or sequence, if I may say so, to actually join and be actively engaged. So to say, it was the second phase from the design thinking workshop last year. And it gave us the opportunity as the three organizations to help further promote the importance of green skills and the greening transition from industries or for industries and economies. And lastly, on this topic, we focus on youth. Yeah? Youth is at the heart of our organization. Everything we do all around skills, occupations, professions, skills competitions, skills development is at a youth level, and youth level meaning 25, 23 and younger. And we want to take up every opportunity to demonstrate how powerful skills are for the youth and how powerful the youth is by utilizing their skills. And hackathon, Kristien mentioned it, is a fantastic, very innovative way to bring together young people with their professional skills, with their digital skills, in addition, soft skills, we've just mentioned, and create really creative solutions for their own future. So in summary, it was a no-brainer for us to join.
Thank you very much, Alexander, for having brought youth at the core of the discussion and of the hackathon. Before giving the floor to Mattias for knowing also why did the LKDF team decided to join this, I think we need to do for 1 second, one small step back, just to make it clear for everyone what a hackathon actually is, because maybe not everyone knows what it is or how it works. Let's imagine I have never joined a hackathon, me, Daria. What should I expect will happen when I will step in, well, virtually, not physically? Maybe Kristien, you want to take that?
Yeah, I can maybe reply and then others can add. To start with, a hackathon is a combination of the two words hacking computers, the ITC world, the computer nerds that are, in the nights trying to find coding and hacking, and marathon. So this means that a solution has to be found in a very, very short time. So this is very specific about a hackathon. A hackathon is also a competition. No, it's about you're putting teams into competition, and the team that has found the best or the most innovative solution to an actual real life problem is usually then the team that wins. Very often, it is very famous or very well known in the area of startups, business creation. And so in the world of startups, often the best, let's say the winner of the hackathon, which is often linked to a business idea, a business solution, also wins a prize often that can help already the startup as let's say, a good way to have access to finance to start a new business. But as I said, nowadays, these hackathons are not anymore used in ICT and in the, let's say, startup world, but more and more also in universities. And also, okay, I wanted to say it later, but I will say it now. I think also the vocational education training schools, vet institutions could also organize hackathons, for example, or any other school, primary, elementary, and so on. So I think I hope that's clear. Maybe
Yes.
Mattias want to add something.
Yeah, maybe Mattias can follow up on this, because LKDF decided to run this hackathon in the first place. Why? What is important? Why have you decided to use this special approach? And why it was important also for you, of course, to bring the ETF and WorldSkills along? Mattias.
Yes, thank you. So honestly, I don't remember where the idea came from, but I think that's a good sign of a good partnership. Someone brought something up, and then we did something along those lines. But for us, it was, the hackathon was part of this year's LKDF Forum, which was on the theme of digital skills for an inclusive future. But as Alexander was mentioning, it was a bridge back to last year's forum, which was on green skills for a sustainable future, where we organized this design thinking workshop that Alexander was mentioning. And for us, it was nice to kind of connect the two forums because they are related, digital and green skills, but also because it was, a hackathon is a way to get a tangible outcome from something. So it was a good fit to the design thinking workshop. And the next step was a hackathon that led to, innovative new ideas. But other than that, of course, it was a great way to engage with young people, which is key for anything related to skills development. It was a way to give them the floor and kind of connect them with us international organizations, but then in the end also with companies from the private sector. But then, it's not a small undertaking. It requires some organizations to arrange a hackathon. So WorldSkills and ETF have experience in doing that, and they have expertise in doing that. So for us, it was not just an opportunity to work together, which we're always happy to do because there's so much for us to learn from others, and not the least from ETF and WorldSkills. But it was a way to put together a team of organizations to make something like the hackathon happen.
Thank you very much, Mattias. And indeed, sometimes it's a very good sign not to remember where an idea came from, because it means it came from teamwork. And before continuing the conversation, which in the next round will focus more on concrete results, because we are all very curious about what came out of this marathon on hacking and bringing innovation in the green sector. I'd like to say hello and thank for following all those who took the time to send a message in the chat. Diamond from Myanmar, Greg from Lagos in Nigeria, Radwan from Layun in Morocco, Maria from Macedonia, and a name I cannot read, I'm sorry, because it's in Arabic characters, from Lebanon. Thank you all for saying hello. Keep up the conversation. And actually, I have a question for you all. Can you please write in the chat, wherever you are, how do you type the word future in your language? How do you say future in your language? I really like to explore this with you, and I'll try to read the words in the languages. I hope you're not challenging me too much, but I'll try my best. So, dear followers, wherever you are, please write down how do you say the word future in your language. I see that there are a number of words coming. I trust you are writing the word future, and I'll try to read that. I see Idnina from Maria. Piridula, I assume this is Greek alphabet. Just give me 1 second. I'm scrolling. Is Melod. Then we have Jelecek. Don't laugh about me, sorry. Ardme. In Momo Valley, thank you. If you could also write in what language you are saying how we say the word future. Momo Valley, it's in Georgian. Then I thank our Lebanese friends, but I cannot read it. I'm really sorry. And Diamond, I think, wrote it in the Myanmar, the alphabet which is used in Myanmar. Apologies. Okay, and the Lebanese friend says that it's Mostakbal. I hope my pronunciation was correct. Please continue to do so, because I really enjoy this, and this was an idea of our partners in this conversation from UNIDO, and we find it exciting that we can bring innovation also in the way we are doing these conversations. Now, while you keep on writing, please future in your language, and please also add the language. We'd like to see with Kristien from the ETF, what are the main results which have emerged from this conversation on innovation in the green sector? Can you please give us some really inspirational ideas and concrete examples?
Okay. First of all, what struck me the most, that all the teams came up with a kind of a digital solution. So they all had the idea of developing an app, an application, or an online platform. For example, the idea of the Open Foodscape team, they created a mobile application to connect food suppliers, citizens, restaurants, and farmers to find other foodscapes in big cities. For example, that was one example. Or the AgriPlus team, they had the idea of a mobile application that support farmers in their sustainable agricultural farming process. So for me, this really showed the strong connection between green and digital skills. So actually, no wonder why governments and the EU Commission is talking now about the twin transition, and the digital and the green. So these were two examples, Daria, of solutions that the teams came up with.
Thank you very much. And indeed, I think that another step which is interesting exploring, and maybe you can start already thinking about this additional question, is what then do we make out of these ideas? What's the follow-up of hackathons and such? Think of that, because I'll address this question later to you. And now I go to Alexander from WorldSkills, because you brought the focus our attention to youth from the WorldSkills perspective. How do you think beyond hackathons we can promote green skills and what's being demanded by the job market to youth?
Yeah, thank you, Daria. First of all, let me mention that we found that there is not just fantastic talent among those young people out there, that we need to keep continuously engaging and growing. But there is also already a really great green mindset. So not just obviously the Fridays for Futures demonstrations that are very well known around the globe, where those young people, students, they stand up for their rights, they stand up for themselves, they stand up for their future, they stand up for the environment and our planet. I think that's very well known around the globe. But let me also give you another example. Here in my home city, we are currently undergoing a new election of a new mayor. And I've joined several sessions with the new candidates. And believe me, they are very conscious, those young people, about environmental sustainability and the future. Yeah, 4 out of 10 questions were dedicated to green environment, environmental future, e-mobility, agile mobility. And guess what? They came all from young people below 25. So they're very conscious that the mindset is already there. They're very conscious about environmental sustainability, but there's still a lot of work for us, for the organizations, NGOs, IGOs, industries, educational sectors, policymakers, to keep promoting the importance of green skills and the relevance for green skills for those young people. Yeah, I think that's also very important. So there is a mindset already there, but we need to keep moving on and promoting in order to enable those young people to get the tools to be engaged in creating their own future. And secondly, we at WorldSkills, our core business, so to say, if I may say so, is the WorldSkills competition, which is ran every 2 years, where currently 85 member countries are participating actively, and the best of the best, the national champions in their skills, in their professions, they make it to the international stage, and they benchmark themselves on the individual level, but also obviously then their vocational education and training system, since they are representatives of those, they benchmark those systems against each other. And there's a lot of learnings obviously coming out of that. And we engage industry partners in the implementation with technologies, with innovations, with the test projects designs, so the tasks that they actually need to fulfill. We strongly engage industry partners in that, since the industries are the demand and the innovation creators. Yeah, so we are trying to engage more and more innovative, low carbon economy driven tasks, modules, test projects into our skills competitions, to also enable those young people to be actively integrated from the bottom up, so to say. And what we also do in those skill competitions, almost every single skill competition nowadays has what we call a sustainable practice award. So we integrate into the tasks, into the test projects that they need to fulfill, modules on, for example, waste management. Yeah, who is actually utilizing the least resources, as an example. That is part of the assessment. So we make them very conscious on utilizing resources, on reducing waste, on being very conscious on the materials, the products, the consumables that they're actually working with. So in short, we look very closely what industry is doing, what the demand side, the labor markets are demanding, and what the trends are. And we are trying to actively integrate those into our WorldSkills skills competitions. Just 2 examples to close that statement. We have newly integrated a skill competition called wastewater technician, water and wastewater technician, in collaboration with an industry partner called Festo. And we have just newly created a skill called renewable energies. So we are also very conscious that we actually need to be basically on the forefront of integrating these new innovative technologies, and then giving the youth, the talents, the chance to actively engage and learn on what that actually means to work in that segment.
Thank you very much, Alexander. And this very well brings me to Mattias, because we discussed about ideas, collecting ideas, projects about having people being skilled for the labor market, because I'm aware, Mattias, that the Learning and Knowledge Development Facility, which is a platform hosted by UNIDO, promotes industrial skills development to help meet the labor market's demand for skilled employees. So what would you say are some of the challenges and opportunities in green skills development? And after Mattias, I'll go back to your translation of future, dear friends following from everywhere. Mattias.
Yeah, thank you very much. Well, first of all, LKDF's mission is basically to address what is the main challenge in skills development, namely that there's this mismatch between what people who graduate from training systems, the skills that they have learned, and the skills that are in demand in the labor market. That has to do with the fact that things change all the time. So new skills are needed all the time. And also, of course, the more things change, the more new skills are needed. So much of it has to do with the information between the demand side, that the employers, is difficult to transmit to the training institutions. If you're a training provider, it's very difficult to know what skills will be in demand in let's say 3 years, or even what's in demand now. So how do you then adapt your curricula or what you are teaching to the people you're training? So that's one of the main challenges, and there are different ways of solving that. But it's all related to bringing the employer side and the training side closer together, and that's the main challenge. You're asking a challenge and the opportunity. So the challenge is that now, we have all these responses to this huge challenge of climate change, new ideas, new innovations, and new ways of doing business and work. At the same time, we have the fourth industrial revolution that's ongoing. We can all see the digital transformation that is happening at a new speed because of the pandemic. So those are all big changes, and the faster change happens, the greater the mismatch will be. So it means that there's an even greater need for skills development and a greater challenge. Now, at the same time, I think in connecting with what Alexander was saying, there's also a great opportunity because, we see that more and more organizations are prioritizing green skills. It's on the top of the agenda for many organizations and companies. And also, very, very, very important is that youth are really, really engaged in this topic. So there's a huge opportunity. There's a big opportunity and a big challenge. And of course, that together means that we should really find ways to work together, because by doing that, we, of course, can do more than working on our own.
Thank you very much, Mattias. Thank you. I'll go back to you and actually to you all, because that when I am presenting, I like to also freestyle a bit and include not only the comments from our followers, but also some follow-up questions which come to my mind, because this conversation, I find it super engaging. First, thanks to Katia from Somalia for flagging that future it's Mustakbal, which I think it's Arabic, like the Lebanese friend also flagged. We have Anna saying that futuro in Portuguese, Maria Budusheje in Russian, Toekomst in Dutch from Elisa. Now I know Kristien could correct me.
Toekomst.
Karin from Italy, futuro. That's easy for me. And please keep up in sharing this. I find it very, very interesting. Now I have a provocative question for all of you, and feel free to take it, whomever wants to break the ice first. You flagged that a hackathon is like a marathon for bringing innovation. It is a way to involve youth beyond, like Alexander flagged, the Fridays for Future movement. Now, if I can go back to something which beyond the number of things which made Greta very famous, the blah 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 point, are hackathons blah 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 opportunities, meaning people do talk, and then these amazing projects find it more difficult to become practice and become real, or some of those can you think can really contribute to improving the sustainable living and the sustainability in this planet? I see that Alexander is nodding, so maybe you want to take this first?
Well, I can give a brief, short answer as our perspective, or my personal perspective, since I had a couple of experiences as a visitor, not engaging in an hackathon. I'm not that type of person. I would be overwhelmed with an hackathon engagement. But the experience from our end shows that they really bring tangible outcomes. Yeah, they really do. Whether it's digital solutions or real life solutions, doesn't matter. We had several hackathons already implemented back in 2015 at the WorldSkills competition in Sao Paulo the first time, and several partnerships like with ETF and UNIDO in the past. And the results are astonishing, what those young people can actually do. But I also see that as a starting point. Yeah, it's not the end. It's not completed mission. And hackathon is the creative starting point of a tangible outcome that needs development. It needs to be enablement. It needs those young people, those whoever, the people who are conducting the hackathon, to enable them to continue their work. Yeah, and that's also a task for us as the international organizations working in that field, that we do not just start with a hackathon and then leave it, but we take up these opportunities in terms of the tangible outcomes and continuously support those teams in enabling them, in supporting them with seed funding, with mentoring programs, with education, whatever is needed. Yeah, sometimes even just network, great connections, in order to enable them to drive their ideas into reality. That would be my answer to that.
Thank you very much, Alexander. I know that also Kristien and Mattias would like to follow up on this provocative question. Ladies first, Kristien.
Thank you, Daria. No, I like the questions because I don't like the blah blah, and I think we are good. We are happy to have that wants to go into the action and concrete things. So I'm only there to support her. No, I think, as also Alexander said, the hackathon is a starting point, and that's really true. And as I said before, hackathons are normally competitions, and I think if international institutions get together to really a bigger prize in terms of financing, that could really help, let's say, innovative ideas to be further developed. So I think at that point, it could be really a good starting point.
Thank you very much, Kristien. And Mattias.
Yeah, I mean, the Alexander and Kristien covered most of what I was about to say as well. But of course, the whole idea of doing a hackathon was that it's a way to get a tangible outcome. Yes, there needs to be a little bit of blah 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 in the beginning to get working and to find get to know each other. But the whole idea of doing it is, of course, to get some real innovative ideas and some business ideas, something that can then be used. I couldn't agree more that it's up to us as these international organizations to look at ways of supporting how to make those ideas become real as well.
Thank you very much to the three of you for having taken the time to answer this question. And actually, I'd also like to challenge all those of you who are following, because I see the numbers are high, and I kindly ask my colleagues from the technical team to post a question on the screen. And my question for you all would be, now that you've heard about this Green Hackathon, the question for you is, would you would you consider taking part in a hackathon? Because it's to know whether you find this could be a useful way and to bring innovation in specific fields and in specific countries. And this leads me, while you answer this question, would you take part in a hackathon wherever you are? Let us know. I'd like to address Kristien, because a question which is very relevant for all those who are following. And I also see two questions having come. So after this one, Kristien, I will also take the questions from the audience. Is this hackathon, something that could be useful also to be taking place in non-EU countries? Our participants who are sending messages from Lebanon, from Georgia, is there any lesson learned that we could share with them? Kristien.
Yes, of course. I think ETF, or also myself, we really can strongly promote the organization of hackathons also in our partner countries. I think, as I said already before, the idea that hackathons are only for universities or for IT specialists or scientific research centers or name it, this is not true. So I think hackathons can be organized anywhere by anybody. And again, also VET institutions could organize hackathons or any other school. So they, for example, in the area of green construction or smart buildings. It can be a competition between two vet schools, of course, with the industry and or private sector also as a key player. I think what's very important and what we learned also from the past, an important lesson is really the importance of having good and experienced mentors. Really, that these mentors, they come from the private sector, the industry of where you do the hackathon about. Is it about agro business, and you have mentors from that field? Do you do it from the smart green building? You have mentors from that area. So it is really very important to have these mentors alongside also the teachers. The mentors have a different role. That really they guide the teams along the way. So from the idea generation to the end results. I would say without good mentors and the teachers also, it will be difficult to have really successful outcomes. I have posted also a small article on the ETF open space where I've also put some lessons learned and some tips for those that are interested in organizing hackathons, and I'm also available for anybody who would like to have some support on that. So with great pleasure.
Thank you very much, Kristien, and thank you very much also for having flagged Open Space, which is an online community for whomever is active in the field of learning. I invite all of you to join the community. You can see the link on the screen, and by the way, you will also find here a very interesting piece published by our colleagues from UNIDO. I know that Alexander is willing to comment on Kristien's point. Then I take few comments from the audience, and then I go to Mattias. Alexander.
Yeah, thank you. Very important what Kristien actually mentioned there. And I also see the one or the other statement here in the chat window, which is also an important part. So the one side is the supply, which is the mentors, the programs, the educators, experienced instructors, industry engagement, etc. But on the other hand, it's the active engagement of those youth talent. And I see a comment, it would be interesting to experience and learn. And I think that's a critical piece there as well, to take actively part in a hackathon, which always is a learning experience for the participants. You learn so much from those mentors, instructors, teachers, educators, specialists, subject matter specialists. So every single participation is an enrichment to your individual personal development. So I can only encourage everyone who is interested to really participate. And I see another comment in the chat, which I think is really critical.
Can you please read it, because the chats are taking place in different platforms. So those who are on Facebook cannot read the comments on LinkedIn. Can you please read the one?
Okay. I lost it here myself, but okay. Because of the speed of the comments. But it, in a nutshell, it says, and it's fun. Yes, hackathons are fun. Yeah, they're innovative. They're young. They're creative. They're sexy. They're fun. Yeah, and they help your professional development. And I can only share one experience in Sao Paulo. We had one. You can't believe it. Those young talents, they were almost 24/7 on the grounds, throughout the nights after midnight, ordering pizza and cola because they didn't want to stop. Yeah, they're a fun experience and they're an educative experience. This is what I wanted to add. Thanks.
Thank you very much, Alexander. Now I keep the promise with all of you who are following, and not only following, but are really participating. So now I give the floor to you. My colleagues very kindly had just uploaded, and I'm doing this again, the comment from Kaja, which, if I'm not mistaken, was a participant to this Green Hackathon, saying that the hackathon is very useful and important. And like just Alexander flagged, it's very interesting and fun because you can learn a lot from it. Then we have Elisa. Yes, as a student, I think it could be a very interesting experience to acquire new skills. yes, Kaja, again, I would like to join a hackathon because I want to add my knowledge and connect with people. And then we have questions about the hackathon, and I'll take them all because I'd like to keep promises. The first one, I think maybe Mattias, if he's available, we could take it. Do you advise to have specific challenges during a hackathon, or is it better to have a more general questions and leave the participants to work as they want? A technical advice, Mattias.
Yeah, I think I would connect to Alexander again, that it's a great way to learn for the people who are participating, but it's also, of course, a great way to learn for us who are organizing, because it's all about what the participants, the youth, bring together and how they manage to come up with new ideas. So this specific question is something that we were considering, and in this hackathon, I think we had more of a general question rather than a specific question. And the reason for that is that when you have a more general question, you leave more space for more ideas. So it means it's a little bit more challenging for the participants, perhaps. And if you have a more specific question, it's more focused. The different teams work on very similar things. So I think it depends. If you want to make it a little bit more easier for the participants, maybe choose a more specific challenge.
Thank you.
It doesn't mean that one is more fun than the other. Both are very interesting, I'm sure.
Thank you very much, and it's great to see that there is also this comment about how engaging and enjoyable the process can be beyond the results which are reached. There is another question from Nina. Are hackathons a new manner in order to accelerate attaining the Sustainable Development Goals? Anyone willing to take this one?
Yes, I think it can be used for any subject. So also for attaining Sustainable Development Goals, also the one on food, on education. I think hackathons can be used to in any subject, in any thematic area. It's, for example, if you take the Sustainable Development Goal on poverty, you can try to define a problem, specific or general, depends what you want, and then try to make the groups work around that problem on that specific Sustainable Development Goal. So I think it can be really applied in any subject.
Thank you very much. So switching from very concrete cooperation and teamwork for also aiming at reaching wider and bigger goals. I also would like to take on board the comment from Karin. We should not forget the important role of mentors and facilitators. I think that Kristien flagged this up earlier on during hackathons, who can share their knowledge and experience with the team members. Thank you, Karin, for that. Yes, I think I took all comments. If you have any more, please do share those. Very happy to take them on board. And I also see that there are some more translations of the word future, which will be the way we will conclude this conversation. So keep up in sharing those. Mattias, the hackathon is an example of a partnership between international organizations aiming at finding concrete solutions, and yet that some profound results. I am aware that UNIDO is also engaged in other forms of partnerships. Can you please share how do they look? Thinking of also concrete angles of that. Thank you, Mattias.
Yes, thank you very much. Yeah. Of course, this type of partnerships is very, very important. It's a way to raise awareness of these issues of green skills, for example. It's a way to share knowledge, which is, we're the learning and knowledge development facility, so it's a core part of what we are doing. But we also work directly in skills development projects. So the way we do that is typically that we try to work as closely as possible with private sector, because the private sector in many ways represents the demand side. And as we were discussing before, the challenge is in many ways to bring the demand side and the employer side together with the training provider. So Our way of doing that is through what we call public-private development partnerships, or PPDPs. So it's exactly what it says. It's a partnership in developing a training institution or training between a private partner, which typically provides, well, of course, expert know-how that they bring in that is important for that sector. Usually they also contribute with equipment, because it's important in vocational training, at least, where it tends to be a bit equipment heavy. The public actor is usually, of course, a government agency or a school that provides facilities and the trainers. And we, as UNIDO, we take care of the project management and make sure, or take responsibility for the implementation of everything. And the D, or the development actor, is usually a donor that brings, first and foremost, a development objective that is in line with what they see or what their strategy is for that country. And of course, they bring the funds that make it possible to kind of set up this type of project. And with that, as I said, we set up, typically, not always, we have different ways of working, but typically we work to set up a training institution and then make sure that's a model or a center of excellence that can then be replicated and learned from and be scaled up to other parts in other countries or other regions of the same country.
Thank you very much, Mattias, and congratulations on all the activities you are running, and also for putting flagging our attention on the role of public and private partnerships and the role of the private sector in bringing innovation. We have 2 more minutes to go, so I have a question for Alexander, challenging you, Alexander, to please answer in 1 minute. And then just a last wrap up with comments from our friends, and then we close. Alexander, how impactful do you see a cooperation with ETF and UNIDO, and what would be the next steps? In a nutshell, please.
Okay, less than 1 minute. Thank you, Daria. Very impactful, to be honest. But as mentioned previously, just a starting point. And I would like to actually take up the statement from Kristien on everyone can actually do such an impactful and powerful hackathon. It doesn't need to be on the macro level as we did as international organizations. It can easily be done in tech institutions, in vocational education and training schools, in other schools, general education schools, etc., etc. And it can well be addressing local micro social issues. Yeah, so don't look at it always from the big picture and sustainability goals, sustainable development goals. Look at it from the micro level as well, please. And I can only encourage, as Kristien said, all you teachers, instructors, training institutions, industries in your local societies, think about what is the current issue there and get those great minds together and get started.
Thank you very much, Alexander, for this closing inspirational message. And if you want to have further support and get to know more information about this experience, as Kristien flagged earlier on, do join the open space community, do email all of us. And to close with comments from, sorry, I highlighted the wrong one. This one. Hackathons are great platforms for the youth personal and professional development, can be used for other target groups of people like teachers and expose them to more to the innovation and motivating them. And I'd like to thank all of you, closing with a friend who, if I'm not mistaken, said future in a language which was very difficult for me, and voila, there it is. Odiniu. So thanks a lot to all the guests who have participated in this conversation, which was about partnering for green innovation and what role can a hackathon play. Alexander Amiri from WorldSkills. Thanks for having been with us, Alexander.
Thank you very much.
Thanks a lot to Kristien van den Eynde from the European Training Foundation. Thanks a million, Kristien.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot to Mattias Larsen from UNIDO Learning and Knowledge Development Forum. Thank you, Mattias.
Thank you very much. It was a real pleasure, and don't hesitate to contact us. We're very much looking forward to connecting with anyone.
And thanks a lot also to Riccardo Savigliano, again from UNIDO, who could attend this conversation only partially, but who together with the amazing communication team of UNIDO was together with us behind this joint initiative. I invite you all to keep up in engaging with all the three organizations that have organized this conversation on online media. I invite you to access Open Space, where you can find a story about this conversation prepared by the colleagues of UNIDO. And I invite you to be with us also next Monday for a new conversation in which we will be discussing about partnering for the Western Balkans region. Thanks a lot and wishing you a great day.
Bye-bye.